Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Yeah, it's been a number of months since I've done a wrap-up. I want to say my last one was July. It's now October. I unintentionally took a break from YouTube in general over the month of September. This was a completely unintentional break. I did not mean to stop filming wrap-ups. It just kind of happened. Life has just kind of happened. So here we are a few months later. And I'm just gonna call this my quarter 3 wrap-up, like it was intentional, except that it wasn't, okay? I haven't been reading as much as I previously was. Life has just been crazy, but I still have been reading behind the scenes. I just haven't been filming as much as I normally would. I needed to take a little bit of a break. We're here, we're past it, I'm ready to get back to it, and I want to share with you the books that I have read because I've had some winners. I've had some 5 stars over the past few months and I need to gush about them. So I am gonna go over those with you today, as well as some not so great books that I read as well, because we just have a mixed bag. Equally, there are a lot of 3 stars. I am gonna go in order of star rating instead of order that I read them, just to keep it a little bit more organized. I have an iced coffee. You should too. Maybe a hot coffee. It is October. Look, okay? Unless it's freezing, I'm going cold brew. I don't know what to tell you about that. Cold brew is just what's in my heart. It's what's in my heart. So unless it's freezing, I'm going cold brew. But grab whatever beverage that you want and let's talk about some books. I have my phone because do you think I can remember every single book that I've read? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I've written it down so that it can jog my memory. Let's start with the DNFs because I have had a few DNFs over the past couple of months. Not as many as I have expected because I've really just been mood reading and grabbing what feels good to me in the moment. So there aren't as many as you would expect, but I do have a few. I did DNF The Best Way to Bury Your Husband by Alexia Casal. This is like a cozy mystery-ish. I just was not interested. Finley Donovan Rolls the Dice. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am done with the series, I'm pretty sure, unless someone says that like something crazy happens and like I need to be in the know. This is 1000% done for me. I just can't. The amount of Stephen we got in the beginning of this book, no. Like that doesn't need to happen. And then I also, controversial opinion, DNF'd The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. Now I have been seeing this go around and get some decent reviews from people that I follow. However, I just couldn't get into it. I just really did not care a lot about the characters at all. I didn't care about the mystery that was happening. I just like was not invested in the slightest. Will I go back to it someday? Maybe. I don't know if I want to call this like, we'll call this a medium DNF, okay? Like I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go back to it, but you never know. Never say never. So those are the 3 DNFs that I had. Like I said, not that many because I've been really intentional, but next we have a 2-star. So let's talk about her. And this one didn't really shock me all that much. I was hoping that I was really going to enjoy it, and it's The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. This was a 2-star read for me. It was just okay. I literally wrote at the beginning of my Goodreads review, meh. Because that's what this book was for me. I was really intrigued. One, because this takes place in a school, which I usually love a school setting. Like that is usually my jam. But this one just didn't do it for me. It also takes place in Vermont. And like I'm a New England gal. So anything that takes place in New England, I pretty much am like, I'm gonna enjoy that part of it. And like I did. I liked the references that were being made. Like I know the locations and that kind of thing. Some of them are fictional. Some of them are real. But like I just could not get into this one. I was not invested in the main character whatsoever, and that's kind of like the theme of the books that I didn't really enjoy. For me, recently, I just really have to be like gripped by the characters. Sometimes it's atmosphere. Recently, it's just been characters for me. You know, things evolve over time, but yeah, this one just really wasn't doing it for me. I was not like invested in the mystery and like the lore that was happening in the school, which is very strange because like I said, I'm usually a school setting kind of gal, but there was just something about this one that just was not working for me. And then you throw on top of it this like main character that's like troubled and has this past and, you know, is connected to everything that's going on, and I just like was not invested in her story at all. And like I think that me and Simone St. James just like are not meant to be. There's something about the elements that she puts into her book that aren't necessarily gripping for me, and I feel like it's a little bit of like Riley Sager syndrome, where, you know, it's kind of along the same lines, a little bit of the same trope. We're getting a troubled main character, that kind of thing, but for some reason I find Riley Sager's books 1,000 times more entertaining. And the one of his that had a paranormal twist to it was the one I didn't like, and Simone St. James puts that into her books. I keep hoping and praying that this is going to be the one that works for me, but this one just didn't. That was the only 2-star that I had, so let's move on to my 3 stars. And my first 3-star is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. This is my first Geneva Rose, but like as soon as I saw this cover, I knew that I had to have it. It's a VHS tape, you guys. I mean, look, you're speaking to the millennial. Hi, hello. If it's a VHS tape, yes. Yes. I love it. She knew the marketing and she delivered on it. This was just overall okay for me. In this one, we are following 3 siblings who have to come back together after their mother passes away and clean out the family home or decide what they are going to do with the family home. And while they're there going through things from their childhood and just like unpacking the house and what they're going to do with their mother's things, they come across a VHS tape that they put in there like, oh my god, home memories, so fun. And they put it in and some things are revealed about their father and their mother and something that they may have participated in / covered up when they were younger. And it brings up a lot of questions for the siblings and that kind of thing. That's really all you need to know. This book is very short. What I think that Geneva Rose got right in this was the sibling relationship. Look, death, wills, all of the above bring out the absolute worst in people. I've witnessed it firsthand with some things that have happened in my own family, like my own extended family, and like what my parents have been through and that kind of thing. Like I know this can happen, and it's so common. It is so common. So I feel like she got that really right, of like the struggle of these siblings coming back together. They're kind of estranged. They don't necessarily get along that well, but they're gonna come together during this difficult time, right? But then it brings up all of these secrets and like they're kind of hashing out what they're going through, but then also they have to decide what to do with the house. And like, look, it brings out the worst, and I feel like she got the dynamic of like the stress of grief on top of having to deal with what you're gonna do with all of these things while also respecting the wishes of the people who have passed away. That I feel like was done really realistically. It's messy in here. It is so god awful messy, but I feel like it's so realistic that it works. So I feel like she got that right. Overall, like the mystery of like what they're trying to figure out about their parents and that kind of thing, I didn't really care that much. I was more here for like the messy dynamics, and I feel like the ending goes just a little off the rails. I don't know if it was supposed to be kind of cheesy, if she was going for more serious. I know Geneva Rose is known for putting like humor in her books. I don't know if this is the approach that she was going for with this one, but it was just a little bit over the top and cheesy for me. The ending didn't really work that well. It was a little bit predictable. It just kind of fell flat overall, but I loved the element of the VHS tape of them like finding out secrets on a VHS. I love that, and I feel like the sibling relationship in here really, while it was messy, like worked, so that's why I got 3 stars from me. My next 3-star was the Lighthouse Witches by C.J. Cook. I have heard such good things about this book, and I thought it was going to be right up my alley. I felt like this was going to be the perfect transitional book from summer to fall, because it still has that like summery feeling with being on like this island and the lighthouse and that kind of thing, but we have this like dark witchy element to it. I thought it was going to be the perfect transitional book, and while it started off that way, it didn't really pay off for me in the end. In this one, we are following a mom and 3 daughters, I believe. It could be 4. I feel like it's 3. There's a lot of point of views in this book. I think it's 3. And her 3 daughters, and they go to this island. The mom gets a job. She's an artist. She's going to, I think, paint this mural or something along those lines. It's been a hot minute since I read this one, but they go to this island, they stay in this lighthouse, and while they're there, 2 of the daughters goes missing. So we're getting the points of view of like the mom and some of the daughters in that timeline, and then we're also getting a present day timeline of one of the daughters who maybe comes across one of her missing sisters. But everything is not as it seems, and the story takes off from there. I loved the multiple point of views. This book started off so strong for me. I was so invested. I would say in the first like half of this book, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. The way that she finds this missing sister, the way everything starts to unfold. I like the messiness of like getting the points of view of everything that happened back then, while all equally getting the present day and how everything is connecting together. I was really invested in that. And then things start to be uncovered, and I just did not find that part as interesting. I'm not gonna say what happens because obviously I don't want to give it away, but I just didn't find the overall explanation of things and like the way it plays out. It's fantasy, which you think that I would enjoy, but I just did not like that part. I was more invested in like the missing sister, and like I wanted one answer for that as opposed to the one that I got, and I just was not as invested as the story went on. I do think the writing of this one was incredible. I really liked, we get these like creepy kind of in-between chapters which you don't really get to put together until the very end. I liked that like intertwined in there. Like I said, I like the multiple points of view, but overall the ending just fell flat. So I have to give it 3 stars though, because I did enjoy the majority of the book. It was just the ending that didn't work for me. My last 3-star was Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. This one is like your classic thriller. This is very much like The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. Like, I wouldn't say exactly, but it's that plot line of like, something has happened to me, I want to seek revenge, let's contract kill for each other. That is essentially the plot of this book. That is literally all you need to know going into it. It's a classic thriller plot, and I feel that's why I had to give it 3 stars. It's like, I've read this before a million times. This one didn't bring anything to the table that those other ones have. Like, I feel like once you've read this one, it's like an Agatha Christie, you know? It's like once you've read one that's like similar, and then you start reading more of them, it's like they're all the same. They are all the same. I'm really struggling with thrillers this year. I want something unique. I want something different. I want something that grips me, and I have not found it yet. This one, like I said, it's just that classic take. It had me going, like, it's enough to keep you interested. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't bored. I was having a good time. It's a fast read. You can listen to it on audio. It was a good audio book. I have no fault of that. The ending, I will say, there was one plot twist where I was like, oh, that's good. And that's what made me bump up my rating from a 2 to a 3, because that one I was like, ooh, okay, I see you. But then the other plot twist was like the complete predictable thing that was going to happen. So it's like, you had that, you know, you could have gone somewhere, you decided not to. I liked the one plot twist, but overall, it's just a classic thriller, and like, I don't know how I can rate these higher than 3 stars unless they do something completely different or something to like completely knock me off my socks, and that didn't happen with this one. I also just need to say that this book has so many points of view. So many points of view, like way too many. I want to say there are maybe 6 or 7 points of view in this book. unnecessary. I feel like it probably would have been way better done had there been less points of view. It would have been a lot faster, would have been a lot more snappy. There was way too many. Way too many. Now let's move on to my 4-star, which I only had one. It's crazy. The rest of them are 5 stars. Insane. One 4-star, which was House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. This was my first introduction to her writing, and I was blown away. Her writing is so captivating. It is so atmospheric. Like, you want atmospheric read? Definition of. This is the perfect transitional book from summer to fall. It's dark, it's creepy, it's gritty, but it also has that like ocean island vibes to it. So it's the perfect transitional book. Like, this is definitely a late August, early September read. That's when I read it, and it was the perfect experience. And like I said, the writing is just delicious. It's not overly flowery, but it's descriptive enough where you literally can like see and feel everything that they're going through and where they are and everything like that. In this one, we are following a family, and they essentially have this like curse on them, or like they think that they are cursed. There used to be 12 siblings, 12 daughters, and they are down to 4. Every single year, I think it was every year, I don't know, however often, one of them has been unalived by like the craziest fluke of things. One slipped and fell down the stairs, this like a menagerie of different deaths, and there's 4 of them left, and they are trying their might to hold on to the 4 of them and figure out this curse. Like, are they actually cursed? What is going on? Why does this keep happening? And when I tell you, this is one of the darkest reads I have ever read. Erin A. Craig did not hold back. It goes there. Like, yes, it is fantastical, but it is so consumable at the same time. This is like straight up fantasy horror. Like, it is so dark and disturbing, and please, if you are going to read this one, you need to read the trigger warnings, because there are so many, especially around infant loss and like pregnancy, miscarriage, all of that, but like also so many more like mental health and suicide and that kind of thing. Like, there's literally a menagerie of trigger warnings, so please look them up, because when I tell you that she goes there, like, she goes there, and it is dark and it is disturbing. I was like caught off guard, and like, I'm not a mom or someone who gets triggered by those things, but it was a lot. But when I tell you, it was done so well. Like, I have never read anything like this, and I am so excited to read more from her. It was not a complete 5-star for me. There were some elements where I was like, there were some times where I was like, okay, I want the story to like move along a little bit faster, but overall, this was an incredible experience and an incredible like introduction to her writing. I have The 13th Child, her newest one, on my shelf. I went out and bought it because I was like, I need to own it. So I'm excited to get to that one, probably in November, but I also want to be reading the sequel to this one as well. Oh my gosh, it was just so well done. So dark, so gritty, so atmospheric, the perfect transitional read. All right, I have 4 books left to talk about, and they are all 5 stars. 4 5 stars, like in 3 months. That's good. That is good. That feels good. That means that I am choosing right. My husband literally keeps saying to me, he's like, that can't be 5 stars. Your reading system's flawed. And I'm like, no, I'm just like really picking books that I feel like are gonna be 5 stars. And like, sometimes I'm right, okay? Sometimes I'm right. The first 5-star that I have to share is The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. I had a feeling that this was going to be 5 stars. However, I also gave 5 stars to The Wishing Game. So I was like, this is a bit of a gamble. Is she really going to give me 2 5 stars? And she did. She did. This one, I feel like I actually may have enjoyed a little bit more than The Wishing Game, which just shocked me. Absolutely shocked me. I wasn't expecting it to enjoy it like a little bit more, but I think I did. Look, I'm a Portal fantasy gal, and this is 1000% Portal fantasy, but it's so whimsical at the same time and so heartfelt. This is like, if you enjoy the Wayward Children series, the Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire, I feel like you will love this book because it's like they took that entire series and like different elements from that entire series and wove it into this book, and it was just so incredibly well done. I cried at the end, and if you know me, you know that that is difficult to do, although these days I feel like it's happening more. Am I becoming a softie? Maybe. I tabbed this book. There were so many 90s references. There were also so many references to Fleetwood Mac, which, like, yes, absolutely. You won my heart for this. I read this for my friend Kendall's book club. It was my first time ever like co-hosting a book club or speaking on a book club, and I had an absolute blast talking about this book for literally over an hour. Like, it was so fun. Definitely want to do it more because it was a blast. I had so much fun. In this one, we are following Jeremy and Rafe, and when they were younger, they went missing for a certain amount of time, and then they came back and they had a hard time adjusting afterwards because of what they went through while they were gone. We're following them now 15 years after the fact, and Jeremy comes across Emily, whose sister has also gone missing, and she wants to enlist Jeremy's help to try to figure out, because Jeremy now has this like ability to find missing people. So she like enlists him, and he's like, oh, once he hears her story, he's like, we need to get my buddy Rafe, who he's kind of estranged from now, and figure out and like go back to this town and figure out what happened to her and help find her missing sister. Now, like I said, this is Portal fantasy, right? So we end up going somewhere. End up going on an adventure somewhere, and we come across all of these other different characters and creatures and beings, and it's very much like just every adventure book that you have ever read as a kid. It's very much Peter Pan, it's very Chronicles of Narnia, like I said, it's very Wayward Children series, I want to say a little bit like Percy Jackson in a way, and it's just so magical, so whimsy, but like I said, so heartfelt at the same time. What these boys went through when they were younger is heart-wrenching, and then we start to uncover things about Emily's sister and their relationship as well, and Emily as a person and what she's been through in her life, and that was really heart-wrenching. We go really deep on some subjects as well, so I've definitely looked up trigger warnings for this too. We have a lot of queer characters in here. We have a lot of figuring out who we are and identities. Oh my god, there's just so much packed into this book. It is so fun. It's so whimsy. And like I said, I cried at the end. There's so many good references. Also just so many good quotes. Like I said, I tabbed this up, and some of these quotes will like stick with me for a long period of time. It's also really funny. Really funny. I feel like Meg Schaefer does a really good job of towing that line between serious and funny while incorporating all of these whimsical things, and I just love this book so much. This is definitely going to be on like my top of the year. Where it's gonna fall, I don't know, but it's definitely gonna be there. Next we have The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is actually a 4.5. Rounded up to a 5 because I mean it's just look, I'm a sucker for found family. That's one thing that I also loved about the last story. If you say found family, I'm showing up every single time. This was equally found family, whimsical, magical, all of the things. In this one, we are following Keela, and at the beginning, Keela and her spider plant, Kaz. Yep. He's alive. He talks to her. He's her assistant, okay? Yes, that's real. Why are you making that face? Yes. Kaz and Keela their library. They're working in the library. Their library goes up in flames and they have to flee. They decide to take the magical books that are within the library with them because if the powers that be find them, they will destroy them because no one is supposed to be practicing this magic anymore. So they take the books, they flee, they go to where Keela grew up, and they flee to the island that Keela grew up on, or like for some of her life grew up on, in this incredible cottage. And when they arrive, they come across some of the people who live on the island. Some are happy to see them, some of them are not so happy to see them. And Keela's a bit of a recluse. Like, she's very much introverted, she wants to keep to herself, but these people on the island, some of them just like to lend a helping hand. Everyone's a little bit friendly, and she's just not used to that. So the more she's there, the more she starts to come out of her shell, and then things start going on from there, and the island has to kind of come together. But we have so many different creatures again in this book. We have so many different walks of life, so many different kinds of people, and it is just whimsical, magical. It is a fun time, tugs on your heartstrings. This one doesn't go as deep as some of my favorite, like, whimsical, really heartfelt found family books, but it definitely is a good time. It's funny, it is hilarious, and there's a lot of talk about food in this one, which is something I also love in cozy fantasy. Like, I just want food. I want it to be magical, I want it to be whimsical, I want it to have found family, and I want it to talk about food. If there's romance on the side, which yes there is in this one as well, that's a bonus, but like, if it ticks all of the boxes, it's gonna get a high rating for me, and that's what this one did. And then we have a book that I don't think is going to be a surprise to anyone that I gave 5 stars. It is a little bit surprising because I just wasn't sure, but now that we're here and I've read it, well, it was instantly 5 stars, and it's Wisteria by Adeline Grace. This is the 3rd in the Belladonna series, the 3rd and final in the series, which breaks my heart because I'm not done. I don't want it to be done. The way it ended, I enjoyed it. I think it was really well done, and it's a really perfectly crafted series where we have a very strong first book, a middleman book. Like Foxglove, I think I end up giving 4 stars because it suffers from the middle child syndrome. Like, it is that middle ground book with a fantastic, strong ending. In this one, we have a specific point of view, and I don't want to ruin it. I feel like everyone knows at this point, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't dove into this series yet. So I will just say we are following a specific point of view, and we finally get her story and her continuation of the story. She's very much intergrained into the first 2, but this is from her perspective and her kind of rounding out the series of what's happening, and it is flawless. Absolutely flawless. Like, I have no notes. No notes. This was gothic, it was dark, it was gritty, it was hopeful, it had such a good twist. Adeline Grace is like the queen of doing thriller twists and fantasy. Like, there is something that happens at the end here where, like, I had whiplash and I was like, oh yes, this is what I want in all my thrillers, and I can't seem to find it, but she somehow did it, and it's in a fantasy, and it's literally perfect. It's so good. I don't know what else to say about it because I feel like whatever I say is going to ruin it, and I don't want to do that for anyone who has not gotten to it yet, but just know I have no notes. None whatsoever. I loved the ending. I wish there was going to be more. I feel like there could be more. It was very heartfelt, tugged at my heartstrings, made me tear up a little bit, and it was just such a strong character study of this point of view, and I'm here for it. Here for it. I love it so much. And then my last book and 5-star to talk about was Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. This is just a stinking cute good time. I don't know what to tell you. We have a love interest who owns a goat farm. Okay? Sign me up at goat farm. You don't have to say anything else. You don't have to say anything else. I mean, stop. He's cute and he has goats? Done. absolutely done. This is just adorable. It was technically a 4.5, again, rounded up, because the ending of this, it really did, like, I just felt like okay about it, but I had such a good time throughout the entire book as a whole that, like, I had to give it a 4.5. Like, it's not a perfect 5, but I still really enjoyed it. This one, we are following Gretchen Acorn, which, like, could you be any more fall? Could you be any more fall? And she is a fake medium. She owns a business where she pretends to be a medium and connect with people who have passed, and really kind of, she doesn't do it in like a scammy con artist kind of way. She really cares about the people. She wants the people that she's reading for to kind of feel at ease. And one day, one of her clients refers her to this farm to help out Charlie. Charlie is trying to sell the property, but things keep happening on the property. So she goes to try to help him, like, cleanse the farm. But he knows right off the bat that she is, like, a complete fraud. And she is trying to prove that she's not, because she's, like, you know, owns business, whatever. She's not fake. She's not fake. She's a real medium, guys. And then she comes across an actual ghost. All you need to know, I loved it. I loved the friendship that built between Gretchen and the ghost. So funny. It's so cute. That was actually probably like the strongest relationship in this book. And then of course you have the romance, which was like cute and all, but really the friendship of Gretchen and the ghost was at its core very much giving like Casper without lovey-doveyness. Like they're really like siblings and they bicker like siblings, and it was just so funny. It was whimsical again, cute, adorable, goats, and Charlie is like dark and brooding. It's grumpy sunshine for sure, and I just really enjoyed it. It's just a cute fall read. Like, it's not anything groundbreaking. It's not like my new all-time favorite romance, but it was perfect for this time of year, and it's definitely one that I would recommend, and one that I might even go back to if I'm looking for like a cozy, cute time when I'm like feeling down, because I just really enjoyed it. The only thing that prevented it from being a 5 for me was the ending. I felt like the ending was just a little bit rushed, but also just the explanation for things were just like, really? After all this buildup and all of this, like the third act conflict, not really a conflict as much, and we start to get this like reveal of Gretchen's past, and that kind of ended up being a letdown at the end, and then the way everything unfolds with the ghost at the end was just way too convenient for me, but overall, it was still fun. And like, am I gonna fault it for that? Like, normally I would, yes, but I had such a good time and I was like smiling the whole time that I was reading this that like, I still rated it a 4.5. Like, I could not rate it a 4.5. Well, you guys, that is my long-winded Q3 wrap-up. Note to self, don't ever go that long again without doing a wrap-up, because I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot to try to remember all of these books that I read. Thank God for Goodreads, okay? Thank God for Goodreads, where I can go back and have a little bit of a refresher, because do you think that all of those books stayed on my mind the entire time? Absolutely not. The ones I loved did. The ones that I could have done away with, not so much. So anyways, that is all. I'm sorry again for not have done one of these for so long, but here we are. We're back. I will continue to do them from here on out. I would love to know your thoughts and feelings on any of the books I've read. Have you read them? Are they on your TBR? Have you read Wisteria yet? If you have, I need to know all of your thoughts and feels. Please let me know in the comments. Also, I would love to hear what you plan on reading for the rest of the fall. Like, what are 3 books that you have like immediately on your TBR for fall? Because there's always room to grow, okay? I will be doing a TBR video, but I need to know what else I should be reading, or if there's anything that like I'm missing out on. Please let me know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe if you are not already. Turn the bell so you never miss a video, and I will see you in my next one. You will. Bye!
With you and I, the future is bright.